Welcome to Omar. This episode is sponsored by Green Life from Mamaroneck, and my shirt is sponsored by Malocchio Lifestyle brands. And my boy here, today's special guest is Jesse Morgan, the owner operator of Malocchio Lifestyle. I don't know why I couldn't say that for a second. We've been talking already, so we're just gonna get into it. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you, bro.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
Jesse's 50 like me, so we created hip hop. We were talking about sneaker culture. We created sneaker culture. We created everything, so we can wear whatever we want, whenever we want. So therefore, I got the J's on. He got the Air Maxes on, and we're good. Jesse, to the people that don't know you, where do you want to start? What do you want people to know about you first?
There's so much, but
Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah,
You're from the Bronx originally.
No, I'm from Mount Vernon. I've done 10 years in the Bronx, but I'm born and raised in Mount Vernon.
Okay.
When I was in my 20s, I moved to Morris Park for about 10 years.
With the family?
By myself.
By yourself?
Yeah.
What was the migration? What?
New adventure.
You just want to be out?
Yeah.
Good for you.
New adventure. That was it.
At
Switched
20?
up. Yeah.
That's young. Okay.
Yeah. Me and my buddy.
And how was the Bronx to you?
I loved it. It was great.
What did you see different from Mount Vernon and the Bronx? There had to be some contrast.
It's very different. I don't know really how to describe it, but
The culture back then was heavy Italian.
There's more. Well, I was in Morris Park, right? So it's more like an old school feel where like you have at that time you had like a meat shop for meat, you had a fish shop for fish, you had a fruit store for fruit. You could walk to all the stores. There was stuff like going on in the park.
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
Like,
we would hang out on the stoop.
Right.
Like in the warm weather.
People watch.
Drink espresso, just chill.
Yeah.
And like, dude, have a blast.
Yeah.
So I lived with 2 DJs.
Jesus.
Yeah. And
Lifestyle.
so we turned the third floor attic into like, not a nightclub, but like a little DJ booth.
A
and
spot.
And like every Thursday night, like
The neighborhood was there?
we would play.
Right, right. Well, you a DJ also?
I played a little bit,
Okay,
but like these guys were like legit.
Legit DJs.
Yeah, I was just clowning around, but like,
Okay.
yeah, we would have a blast. It was great.
That's awesome. So I know you 10% of your proceeds all go to substance abuse, right?
Yep.
What inspired that? What's the story behind that?
Well, I went to a rehab
Okay.
for alcohol abuse, and it turned my whole life around. That was the beginning of like a whole new, not even chapter, a whole new book.
New version of your life.
And yeah, new version. So like I want to give back to that.
So when did that happen? Were you young or?
No, it was probably like three years ago.
Also recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So probably 3 years ago, my life was out of control. I went to a rehab, and like that was the beginning of my journey of sobriety.
Right. Right.
From there, I got involved with AA, and then that's when I really started working on like what it's like to be like a good person. You know.
That's a big statement. There's a lot to go there. There's a lot to unpack with that statement. So all right, so let me start. When is it in your life that you felt? When did you come to a realization that hey, I'm gonna have a little issue here? You know, like I might have an issue with alcohol. My relationship with alcohol might be a little different than I think it was. You know what I mean?
I think I had that feeling for a long time, and I kind of denied it.
Okay.
And kind of just pushed it, like, this is what everybody else around me does.
Okay. And was it?
Definitely.
All right. So you were hanging out in certain circles, right?
Yeah.
No, well, I'm trying to create a context, right?
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're hanging out in a certain crowd, everybody's chilling, and then you're justifying it, right? And then, but there has to be that moment. Something has to happen.
So things started like slowly, like I stopped doing them.
Okay.
So like I stopped going. I was always into the gym. Like I love exercise.
Right.
I stopped going to the gym. I stopped working in my garden. I stopped having interest in like being on time for work or even like showing up. Right.
Right.
So like all those things now, your life is completely different.
Right. You look like a different person, right, at the time?
Yeah, it was a disaster. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to give like real context. You're like, I was fucking disaster.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And like my sister and my mom kind of reached out to me, and they were like,
Jesse, what's going on?
You got a problem. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Right.
Like, but like, you need some help. And that's like one of the hardest things is to, I think for like a man, is to admit like, I need help.
Right.
And they helped me with that, to be okay with that.
Right.
So yeah, I went to a rehab. I was supposed to go for like 2 weeks just for detox because I was in a huge rush to like, I got to get back to work. I got to get back to life.
I want to get back to life.
You know what I mean? And I talked to some guys there and they were like, listen, you really want to like not go back to the old way, you got to stay for a month.
Give it some time.
Yeah. I met some great people who were there, who I still talk to, who are still sober.
Nice.
Yeah, from there. We text, we're in a text group, text every day.
That's great. Accountability group, right? Like an accountability group?
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah.
So basically we just keep in touch.
Yeah.
We kind of vent. Sometimes we do like a goal and a gratitude for the day. It's a nice thing, nice little network to be a part of.
Yeah, it's almost like a shift in perspective, right? Right?
Yeah, and we kind of lean on each other like, hey, this is going on. Hey, this is going on. And it's helpful.
I see that more and more lately. I see that people are becoming more okay, or rather more open and transparent about needing to be around their peers to kind of like work through some stuff. Like, cause I feel like as we grew up, like we always showed like the lone wolf, the lone survivor, the warrior,
Yeah.
right. So imagery, Rambo, Commando, all that, right?
There's no like showing emotion.
Right.
There's like
Very
no,
stoic.
like a man doesn't like do any of that. And like, it's good for people to just be honest about what's going on inside you because that stuff will eat you up alive.
Yeah. You have to have a way to release pressure, I think, right? Pressure is a big word. I think all of us face different pressures every day, whether we acknowledge them, whether we know them or not. And instead of drinking, now you're exercising regularly. I saw you doing burpees.
Dude, I love my burpees. I love my burpees.
I don't love burpees, but I can.
Nobody does. So, like, I was so intimidated by them, and I was like, if this is something I don't want to do,
I should do.
That's probably the thing I should do.
Right.
So let me start like really slow. You know, everybody has a day one.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's an expert when you start out.
That's it. You know what? I'm starting to see like a pattern of your mindset, which is, was this something that you got through sobriety?
Sobriety's had a huge
understanding
impact on
that
everything.
we all start at the starting line.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because like that's wisdom, and a lot of people don't have that. Some they're like, oh, I don't want to do it. And people watching me, like like everybody has different things. And I had another guy on here earlier, and he was he's like a speaker, a motivational speaker, and he was like, listen, we all have that day one, that start day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you told my sobriety, so you got there. You said, I'm gonna do 2 weeks. I'm out of here. Go back to work.
Yeah.
Then you started really
I stayed
digging
a month.
in, right?
Yeah, I stayed
Digging
a month.
in.
Yeah.
Made some good relationships. What are some of those things? What are the things in the relationships that may have helped change, paradigm shift your perspective of the world?
So like just one that pops in my head right now.
Anyone.
Is the most basic thing is one day at a time.
Okay.
Right. So all you have to worry about is today. Right.
Right.
Like I don't have to worry about what's going on in a month. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. All I got to worry about is today. Just make today amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
And tomorrow the sun
you worry about
rises,
tomorrow.
you do it again.
Tomorrow may not come.
Well, the big thing is, I think when people are worried more about tomorrow than right now, that actually creates anxiety, right? Because now they're trying to figure shit out that ain't even happened yet. And all you're doing is basically running your machine, your CPU over and over again with no true way of stopping it, because you've created this unanswerable question, right? And that creates anxiety, and that could create bad habits, right? Because you're trying to cope, right?
The thing is like to escape,
Right, to escape.
So you can get it from both sides. You could get it from the future, or you can get it from the past.
Right. Some people are trying to numb the pain from the past.
So what we do is just worry about today.
Okay.
But at the same time, you have to deal with whatever is bothering you from the past.
Right.
You have to like
You have to put it to rest.
Get that cleared out.
Now, with you and your drinking, you think it just happened by hanging out in certain places, or were you introduced to drinking early? Or just so you know, I've been dry 6 months.
That's awesome.
I didn't have an issue with it. My wife's been dry 2 years, and as I propel forward in life, I use words on purpose, like fucking going through space. And I noticed my age. I know that I don't really have time to lose. So to me, that was something that slowed me down. Like, not saying it can't be enjoyed, good for you, but tomorrow I have a lot of shit to do. So I just kind of removed it from the equation to help me get to my shit faster, right? Like, so
Yeah.
that's kind of how I use it, right? Other people, you know, there's a whole industry that's built upon making people dependent on drinking. So I had a liquor store in '99,
You were telling me.
right?
Yeah.
So I had a liquor store and nightclub. So I was definitely like in the life. And every week, salesmen come. They bring you stuff to try, see if you like it, so you can sell it. See if you like. It's all free. It's almost like the drug game, right? It's all free. It's all free. It's all free. And then, you know, you're at the liquor store. Your friends are coming, and and you're drinking every day. And I had a liquor store at 25, so I was prime time. And we're chilling, and you go from 220 to 260 in weight because you're not doing anything except drinking and moving boxes and stuff. Like people. And this is not a shot at anybody. I look at the camera when I say shit like that. It's just that people like they romanticize this lifestyle, right? And I'm not shitting on people who smoke cigars. Do what you want. I used to smoke cigars too. Smoke a cigar, drink a thing, and that's the cool thing. I'm successful. No, successful is based on success. It has nothing to do with you drink or smoke or not. Success is just is a very pure metric, right? And whatever the metric is, whether it be you want to be a successful father, business person, coach, whatever it is, right? One has nothing to do with the other. And that's the one thing I had to learn as a young person. Imagery plays a big part, right? A big part in what you think. You emulate what you think is successful or is going to give you a certain feeling. Or going back to movies, like, oh, that guy, The Godfather, that was cool. Like, you know, like all these things play into behavior programming that maybe this is a deep conversation, but I think you're the guy to have it with, where people don't understand the shit you see, it has an effect on you. Like, you might not know it, but it does.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but it does.
Yeah, you may not even know what's going on, right?
Absolutely.
But you kind of saw that and your brain remembers that. So, okay, I have some money now. I'm doing okay. What do I do?
I got my Rolex.
I got to get this bottle that I see in these videos, or
Right.
I got to wear this watch that I see these other guys who are doing it big time. So, and that means I'm on their level. It doesn't mean you're on their level. It means you guys own the same watch.
Right. The scary thing about that is I talk about certain things because I've gone through that journey. Like I've climbed, I said, this is going to make me happy. Like the Rolex. I haven't worn a Rolex in years. I wear my Apple Watch because I keep track of data. I have a Rolex in my closet. You know, not to say it's good or bad. It's just a thing I wanted. I did it. It's done. Now I have a perspective on it, right? So, yeah, what do you want to say about that?
I feel like everybody has to go through this,
Right.
and buy this stuff.
They have to realize it.
And then because if you haven't done it, then you still don't know, and you're like,
it's hard to feel. It's like you're on the outside.
Still drawn to it.
You're on the outside, right? Like,
but if you get it and you're like, it didn't do anything for me.
Right.
You kind of know.
The magic isn't there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But if you can't attain it, you're still fantasizing about it.
Correct. It's almost like having the girl that doesn't want you, right? You want the girl that doesn't want you. When you get her, you're like, oh fuck, this is fucked up. I don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
But same concept. So yeah, I try to kick it to the younger guys and be like, hey man, look, it's not really that a big of a deal. But again, when I was young, you couldn't tell me that. Like you're saying that because you don't want me to, right? So then I had to climb whatever mountains I had to climb.
Do it.
I had to buy the car. I had to do this. I had to do that. And then you get there and you're like, all right. And even now on a more positive note, right? Like I've done some good investing, right? Some good stuff. It doesn't change who you are. It's simply just another variable in your life, right? Like you buy a building. Oh, you can make mad passive income, bro. Yeah, you do. Do you make enough money that you retire and not work? No. It's just now because you have things that could go wrong. So you have to have that planned ahead. And the one thing they don't tell you is you climb the financial ladder is that the more you accumulate, the more you have to insure, the more you have to cover yourself, the more you have to work.
Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, well,
nobody talks about that.
Nobody told me that. I learned that shit the hard way. I'm like, what? Gap insurance? They're like, yeah. Or I was like, shit. You know, again, I learned my education is through action. But yeah, nobody talks about that, right? Oh, you got this, you got cash flow and this. That. I'm like, yeah. What
and
about?
Nobody talks about net.
Right.
All the numbers people throw around, they're telling you gross. They're not telling you what.
That's actually
what their advertising budget is, all that stuff. So
that's a really good statement. Yeah. Everybody is playing with the numbers.
Never what it seems.
But if you chop into it and you see the net, you're like, is it really worth it? You know, all this work, all that. So again, some people are driven by purpose. So you have to have that goal. If you don't have a goal, you kind of just drift, right? So you have to have it. But just understand, I think you're the right person to speak to about this, is that the goal is not going to make you whole. It's just something to keep you going, right? Being happy is a state of mind. And I honestly feel it's a decision, right? Like, I've had some really fucked up parts of my life, and I didn't realize it. I went through depression when my mother was sick. I still functioned. To the untrained eye, I was regular.
Nobody knew, yeah.
Right, but those closest to me, like my wife and that, she was like, yo, you okay? And then you start looking at things like pictures, and you know yourself, right? So you look at a picture where you're smiling, but you're not really smiling, right? I saw a few of those.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. And I say that and have this conversation with you because I want people to understand that the accumulation of assets is cool. It's a thing. It's not the key to happiness, right? Also, like you said it, I quoted you, I don't remember. If you want to be a bum, that takes work too, right? So,
Bro, straight.
so
Dude, it's not like you just sit there and you don't do nothing.
right. You actively do shit to fuck yourself up.
But you got to work hard to scrap up that change and all that stuff and find a place to live. You get kicked out of here and there and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not like
You can't couch surf forever.
maybe like I remember as a kid there was a movie like Beverly Hills Bum or
Hillbilly.
something, right? Where dude, the guy just chills on the beach, like.
Hopefully he's in California.
Yeah.
New York, that shit won't work.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Maybe over there you can pull that off, but like, yeah, no matter what you do, it's going to be difficult, right? And that's part of the deal.
Right. And you've come to accept that, right? You come to accept that, hey man, it's what it is. So tell me what inspired the lifestyle brand.
The clothing brand?
Yes.
So, I was in rehab and I'm starting to get like my mind is kind of clearing up, and I'm always into fashion. And there's some t-shirts I want, but they're in my mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They don't exist. And nobody's making anything like that. So I'm like, you know what? Like when I get out, I'm going to start working on this.
Okay.
And I'm going to make my own shit.
And you did. How long have you been doing it?
Probably 3 years, yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Over 3 years.
All the designs yourself?
You do top soup to nuts. I do everything.
Everything? And where do people buy this? Online?
Online.
Okay.
Online, I do some pop-up shows.
Okay.
We're doing a gym thing Saturday. Grand opening of
gym?
Mount Vernon Barbell's having a grand opening party.
Is it a re-grand opening or? Because it's been around.
They moved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're doing their grand opening party this Saturday.
Okay.
We're going to be there.
Okay.
We've got some stuff we're going to give away at the raffle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
And I saw you did something at Harpoon Hannah's Caffeine Culture.
Yeah, we're.
I like that. I'm going to try to steal that. Caffeine Culture. Yeah.
Dude, give it a shot. We're doing second one in April. We just booked that April 26th.
Okay, and what is that exactly? A DJ?
So it's kind of this Kim who owns Harpoon Hannah's. It's her idea. So it's basically she travels, and she was in I think she was in California, and she was like, listen, I'm going to these coffee shops, these cafes, and like people aren't going out at night, like to nightclubs. They're going. She's like, I'm going to these coffee shops. And there's DJs, and people are hanging out. They're not drinking alcohol. They're drinking coffee and other beverages, and they're having a blast. And I want to start doing this at my shop in New York.
Very cool, yeah.
So I'm like, cool. She's like, do you know any DJs? I'm like, yeah, of course I know.
My two roommates.
Yeah, but I'm like, I got the perfect guy for you. One of my buddies I met at my gym, Reggie Ruck.
Okay, what gym you go to?
I go to Equinox.
Which one, Scarsdale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like, dude, he was like on a circuit in Vegas. So I'm like, this is your guy.
Right.
I'm like, so like, we did one together. It was a blast.
How long are they usually?
Like 3
hours?
4 hours, something like that.
Hang out?
Yeah.
Pull up?
Just hang out.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing something like that at not a Caffeine Culture, but rather I have a book I wrote, and I don't want to make it like a book signing kind of boring thing, but I wanted to do like a DJ, because so many different people, and everybody like. Also, it's hard to like, you have different circles of friends, right? So like, if I host a certain type of party at my house or whatever, I'm everywhere. Rather, if I have a central area, people are just chilling, and I can just kind of float around, makes it
Yeah.
easier, right? So I'm kind of kicking that idea around for the summertime myself. I saw that and then I was like, yeah, that is a good idea. But I didn't know what it was about. That's why I was asking
Yeah.
you.
You got to come to the next one.
Yeah, I do.
So I'll tell you, when we did it, right? I'm in a bunch of different circles like you.
Yeah.
I invited people from all these different circles, and they all were there, and it was really cool to see
Melting pot.
like AA sober people with gym people, with real estate people, with social media people, and like nobody's like met each other before, and
Yeah,
they're
that's
like
cool.
they're kind of like mixing.
You did a mixer. Yeah.
It was a real deal mixer.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was
That's
great.
cool. So do you find like a lot of people that have gone to AA or gone through that journey, do they end up in the health space, like working out? Because I feel like you got to replace habits, right? Because there's idle time.
Yeah.
There's time that you're going to have nothing to do, and that's where temptation gets led and stuff. So you got to figure out things to replace it with. Do you find that a lot of people leave AA and start ending up in the health space?
Well, here's the deal, right? Like when you're like me, right? When you're like an addict, right? I always do this on podcasts.
Okay.
Is like when you're an addict, like there's never a cure. It's not like you do a certain thing and it's over. It's always inside you. So you do maintenance work that you don't go back to that lifestyle anymore. So you can never get a cure. You'll always be an addict. You could be an active addict or a non-active addict.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So active addict is you're using drugs or alcohol.
Okay.
Non-active is I'm a non-active addict.
Okay.
I'll always be an addict.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the deal. You do preventative medicine rather than after. So
Give me an example.
so for me, I go to AA meetings.
Okay.
I speak at rehabs. I do service. I live something called the 12 steps.
Of AA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's really beneficial for probably anybody. You don't even probably need a drinking or drug problem I'll show them to you. They're really simple ways to live.
It's kind of almost a way to kind of cope in terms of steps, right? Like, but not to take away from addiction, but rather I feel also that people nowadays, this culture now, this generation coming, is sensitized to a point where they need certain types of preventive measures because like little things throw people off their path really quickly. Like they start bugging out. Oh, I can't believe you attacked me like that. I'm like, yo, I just told you don't work hard. Oh, you attacked me. No, I'm just observing. Like this is a real conversation. I'm like, bro, no, I was like, we're obviously from different places, but look, this is what I'm saying. I don't know you personally, but I know your habit and it's not what it takes. And it's an unfortunate truth. And I'm sorry if it doesn't make you feel good, but you're asking me for my opinion. And it's my opinion. So you can say I'm an asshole, but I'm going to have my opinion. And I'm sorry. I speak my truth. I'm not going to butter it up for you because I feel that most people can't take genuine criticism or constructive criticism, right?
I think a lot of that has to come from like how much technology they have access to, So they're having less conversations with people like face to face than like me and you did.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We're hand to hand combatants.
You tell a kid like, hey, the kid's trying to get a job, and like the mother or father tells them, all right, go to that place and drop off your resume and introduce yourself. Oh, I don't do that. No, that's not appropriate. No. We email. Like, bro, like
you email, make an appointment.
What are you
Eventually,
doing?
they have to see you. Yeah.
Oh, show up, show your face.
Yeah.
See how nobody can see how you act and how you conduct yourself through text or an email.
Yeah. There's that energy. I mean, during COVID, right? Everybody's doing Zooms. I did a lot of Zooms. It's the only thing you could do, right? But this hand to hand is totally different. This in person, or as they call it, I was educated last week, IRL, in real life. Beats everything, bro. It beats it like the energy transfer between people, the back and forth, just the interchange of ideas in the moment, right? In real life is so different than, you're on a Microsoft Teams with 50 people. You're talking, you really don't know who's listening. You don't know and it's, I just feel like the feedback loop is very retarded. I use that word like delayed. It's very delayed, very delayed. Like it takes so much more work that way than like I have a rule with my clients. Anything more than 6 texts is a call because they'll ramble off and I'm like, yo, I can't.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
Yeah, let's. What do you?
That's the way I feel.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I'd rather just call you and ask you 4 things in a row than
Or anything that might come up while you're thinking about that, right? We can just knock it out, iron it out right there, and be done
move
with
on.
it. And be done with it.
Yeah.
So how's that thing going? You said you were leaving videos to your friends. Remember you told me you were leaving messages? Voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's the idea. I'm in like a California. I'm in a network. It's called GP Life. Sorry, it's called MG Life.
MG Life?
Yeah. This guy Mike and Keenan started it, and it's based out of California. And they have a Zoom group that meets 3:00 in the morning.
Anywhere in the world, probably.
California time is 3:00. So here it's 6:00.
Okay.
So we get off a little easier than them. And basically what we do is we do a prayer. We do box breathing. Mike, who's the main leader, he teaches some coping skills for life. And then at the end, we do a calisthenic workout with probably like 111 burpees.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're done by 8, and now you're ready to rock and roll.
Wow.
It's a great way to start the day.
It sets you up. It sets your day, right? It sets your tonality.
It's great. So it was his idea to say, hey, I'm challenging you guys to send 3 videos a day and through the phone to someone and compliment them. And dude,
How's that been received?
Dude, people love it.
Yeah.
You love doing it.
Nobody, listen, I'm going to use some terms that you're probably very familiar with. Our culture is based upon trauma dumping. Like everybody, your mother had shit from grandma, she dumped it on you. You dump it on your kid. Like you try your best, right, to not. And even sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, yo, I have to change that behavior because I remember when I was that age, it wasn't really, something that was working for me. But to text somebody or to call somebody or leave a voicemail of something good that you're grateful for, it's so weird. It's so unheard of because it's just been right. It's just been like made that way. People usually call you for an emergency or call you to trauma. I use that term because I heard it somewhere. Trauma dump and just want to get rid of it and do damage to somebody else and get rid of it themselves. I'm like, what about yo, man? Yo, I'm glad you're my friend. I'm glad you're my corner. And that's it. Like, they're like, what else? No, that's it. What? You really?
You don't want anything?
Yeah, that's crazy. So have you gotten that response? What, you need something?
Nah.
No? Okay.
Nah.
Okay. What are the responses you're getting?
Oh my God, thank you. It's amazing. Nobody's ever done this before. Yeah, it feels good to get that response. Yeah.
Very awesome.
Dude, it's really cool. And like, at least like our generation, like me, I'm not used to like recording myself with videos and like, doing that stuff. Yeah. You've never done that before. Yeah. So, that puts you a little bit out of like your comfort zone, and it's important to be out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's where you're really going to grow. And then you keep stretching that where your comfort zone is. And now in a year, dude, you're a whole nother person.
You're a different person, right?
Yeah.
You have to welcome challenge and then understand that the byproduct of you achieving whatever goal you're achieving is not really the win, right? The win is the person you became to achieve that goal. Because now the goal is fungible. You could get rid of that goal, put another goal, but now you become this version, this other version that thinks different, moves different, acts different, has a different discipline, has disciplines that have been created from that. I keep going with all the words, but you're evolving. At the end of the day, you're evolving. And the fact that you're so in touch with the fact that, you're saying that you're not an active addict, you're a recovering addict? No, what's it called? That it's there. It's there.
I'm a non-active.
You're a non-active addict, but you're aware it's something.
It's there.
And it's impulsive behavior. Like I was in Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago, or a week ago. We're gambling, right? So I don't gamble a lot, but I kind of found out I like to gamble. Like it becomes a personal thing that I'm trying to beat the dealer. I'm like, yo, bro, the house always wins. I'm a smart guy. I know how it works, but when you're in the moment, you're like, yo, damn. So I was up like 700. I ended up flat, but it's all good. My son was like, Dad, he's gambling with me. He's like, Dad, we have our number. I was like, oh shit, you're right. Because I got lost for a second. I was like, let's let it go. He's like, no, Dad, we have our number. We walk away now. I was like, okay, cool. But because anything I do, like the training, it takes a certain amount of tenacity and you gotta go, right? So that can go against you too, right? Like anything you like to do, like when I used to drink, I remember I used to drink 2, 3, 4 drinks in one shot. Like it was never just one, right? So I had that personality.
Yeah.
So I know that about me. So I just kind of try to make sure I use my personality towards things that are going to build me instead of take away from me, right?
You know, I think it would be safe to say, like, nobody's life is going to be better from drinking.
No.
Your life might not be worse, right? Like, it might not affect you the way it affects me, but there's no way, like, if you drank one drink a week, it made your life better.
No.
You know, and then a lot of people are like, well, if I'm only going to drink once a week, I'm just not going to drink at all.
Yeah. And what about when they ask you all those questions? They ask, like, when you take life insurance exams, what kind of drink are you? Like, I had never thought about that. I was like, I don't know.
Bro, let me tell you this. You know, when you go to the doctor,
Yeah.
and they're like, how many drinks do you have, right? And everybody lies, right? Everybody's like, whatever it is, dude, they
Minus 10.
divide it by 4, right? So they're like, the last time before I went to rehab, I went to the doctor, and he's...
Is it the same doctor?
Dude, it was I've been to him before.
Yeah, you seen you growing up or
I've
something?
been to him before. He didn't see me growing up, but I've been to him before.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm paying this guy, like, through insurance. This guy works for me. Like,
Right.
why am I not being honest? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So he's like, how many?
So Jesse.
How many? Yeah, he's like, how many drinks do you have? And I'm like, 12. And he was in the fucking paper, and dude, his eyes popped out, and he wanted to verify. He goes, a week? I said, a day. Bro, his eyes popped out. He was like, holy shit. Because I'm sure people who drink 12 drinks a day
We'll never say that.
go to him,
Yeah.
but they do not say it.
Right. So he said, Jesse, you have a problem? He didn't say anything?
He's like, listen, we got to do a liver test. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do this. You got to cut down. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick story, right? So I had my hips replaced 2 years ago. Double hip, whatever you call it. So I had been limping for a while. It was hurting me. Osteoarthritis, that's what I had in my hips, right? So bone on bone, whatever. So for a while, I endured it for like 10, 11 years. Finally, I'm limping, so I'm like, there's a problem. I don't know what it is. I have nobody to talk to. My family, you know, like, they're all dead from diabetes, so they don't know. So anyway, I tackle like I attack everything else in life. All right, let's do process of elimination. I went to the general doctor. So I'm there, I get my blood work done. I'm saying, look, I have a problem, I think. She goes, okay. She moves my leg. I go, ow. She goes, okay, fine. Go see an orthopedic. I said, okay, no problem. I went to see the orthopedic. She made me do like some twists and shit. She goes, okay, you gotta go see a surgeon. You passed me already, right? So I'm like, okay. She's like, do you want a cortisone shot? I don't know what any of this stuff is. I'm not highly medical. I said, what's that? She goes, well, for the pain. I said, nah, I've been chilling, so nah, why do that? So anyway, I go see the orthopedic surgeon. Shout out to Carl. I take some x-rays, and he's like, oh, what do you want? I said, what do you mean? He goes, what do you want? What painkillers? I was like, nothing. He goes, I'm looking at your hips. And he's like, I don't know how you're walking. So I need, like, how you day to day. I said, I'm just walking, man. At this point, I was playing basketball too. So like, when I play basketball on Sundays, I told him I take 2 a leave after because it hurts a lot. It burns. It's a burning sensation. He goes, wow, oh shit. Okay. He goes, all right, so listen, there's 3 things you can do. You can change the way you move. I said, I've been doing that shit for like 10 years, bro. Like, even doing CrossFit, I had to change the way I deadlift. Like, deep squatting was severe pain, like burning. And then I would limp off. He goes, okay. He goes, I can give you a cortisone shot. I go, they offered me that because I'm going on a trip. I'm going to a wedding in about 2 weeks. He goes, well, if you take the cortisone shot, I have to delay. So anyway, he goes, if you want to do surgery, it will delay surgery, but we'll get to that. I said, okay. He goes, the third option I can give you is We can have the hip replacement. He was like, you're in good shape. At that point, everything I had read about hip pain was to do with weight. So I had dropped 30 pounds on my own, just trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
So he was like, you look like you're in good shape. I normally don't recommend this, but I'll do both of them. Same day. So I was like, and what does that do? He goes, restores mobility, no pain. So I was like, I'm in. Sign me up. Let's go. So then he goes back to if you take the shot, it'll delay you by 30. So I said, I'm not taking the shot. Don't worry about it. So I go back to my wife. I tell her, this is what we're doing. She bugs out. She goes, hell, what are you talking about? Like, she doesn't, like, she's worried, surgery. So we do a Zoom call with him. He tells her, no, he should be fine. She says, okay to it. He said, I'm going to give you something that's like a leave, just for your pain. Take it once a day. I said, all right. So I go to his wedding. It's a young wedding. It's the type of wedding where they have those recharge bags. You know what I'm talking about? Those electrolyte replenishment.
Yeah.
It was that type of party, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hanging. So I'm drinking. I have a few drinks. And I was like 230 at that time. Day 2, my face swelling, a little swollen. I'm like, what's going on? So I'm like, whatever. I was only there for 3 days. Day 3 or day 4, we're on the beach with my boy. We're hanging out. So I'm in party mode. So I'm like, yo, everybody on the beach gets around. We're good. My feet are like the clumps.
Ooh.
Right? He goes, yo, oh, what's up with your foot? I was like, nah, just water retention. He goes, nah, bro. Check that out. Anyway, getting on the plane that afternoon. My size 13s, they're hard to get in. I'm like, oh, shit. So I go back and I call the doctor. I said, yo, something's going on. He goes, what, you're consuming alcohol? I go, yeah. He goes, you're not supposed to consume alcohol on medication. I said, but you told me it was like a leave. He's like, no. This is from a pharmacy. This is not a leave. This is you. So anyway, I came back. I was 280. I was 230, 280, 50 pounds in 4 days.
What the?
I got swollen.
Bro,
So,
he didn't tell you? He didn't think he...
He probably thought I should have known. I should have, but I didn't. And anyway. So anyway, surgery's approaching. I don't know if you know this, but you have to go to the doctor to get blood work before surgery. I didn't know this. Did you know this? I didn't know, because this is my first, right? Okay. So she's like, all right, you have to come for the pre-surgery checkup. I'm like, I just did a checkup last month. Like, what? This is the way you have to do it. So I go. So I told her, I said, hey, I forgot her name. Fuck. Anyway, I said.
How far before the surgery?
Like 40 days, 30 days, something like that. I forgot her name, but I said, hey, just so you know, I was hanging out heavy. I just told her, it's just kind of what you said.
Yeah.
Hanging out heavy. Like ridiculously heavy. She goes, okay, thanks for telling me. So she calls me like, because results come back fast. Like I don't know if you've been to a doctor, but you go on this portal, you get your results within hours, right?
Yeah.
She's like, hey, your liver results, they're ridiculous. I go, I told you. I didn't lie. She goes, do you want to take another one? I was like, nah. I was like, I know what it was. I told you what it was. I know what it was. Anyway, so then I ended up doing the surgery and we're all good. But just to give you an example of like all the precautions and then, like me in my ignorance, not knowing how these things counteract or interact. They say don't take medicine and drive or don't take medicine and drink. The greatest thing about the surgery is said don't make any any decisions 1 week after your surgery. Did you know? You ever heard that?
Nah.
No large decisions will be made 1 week after surgery because they say you're still loopy from the gas.
Prenup's not a good idea.
Nothing big. Like they're like no big business decisions. Like none of that happens.
Because you're a little off. You're a little foggy.
Right. It was good to know. It was good to learn. They're like no big decisions are made.
Go easy. Yeah,
which was crazy. So when you said that about the liver, that just triggered that whole story in my head about me not respecting medicine. Like I was like, I think
we all think we're like Superman. And we all think we all even a step further. We all think we're the exception. Like,
it's not gonna happen.
It's not me. I can handle this shit.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to recover from the hip surgery?
Well, the funny thing about hip surgery is that the rehab is simply walking. Right? That's it. So he was like, all right, so this is the thing. I had double bilateral hip surgery. So to leave the hospital, you have to walk upstairs and downstairs on your own. If you cannot do that, you cannot leave. So my wife tells the story. She goes, yo, you woke up. So before my surgery, like my feet were always this way. I couldn't open my legs. My hips were like fused, right? So she says, yo, man, I see you. You wake up, you're groggy. They give you a peanut butter sandwich, which I just ate. And I'm like, yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here. So she goes, your legs are everywhere. She's like, you put on your sweatpants, you're all crazy. She's like, I can't believe that your legs are doing these things. And then I was like, yo, get the nurses, because all I wanted to do was go home. I knew the mission.
Yeah.
I had to get home. So I ended up, two little nurses, they're like walking with you, and I'm like, you're on a walker, and then you walk up the stairs, down the stairs. I have a video, I'll send it to you. And then I got home, man. And then so the first 3 or 4 days are tough because the anesthesia wears off, right? And so your body is your body's blowing up. Yeah, your body's blowing up because it has like these 2 large incisions, and it has a piece of bone cut off. Like there's a lot of reaction. And I was on painkillers for like a week, something like that. And I usually took them just to go to sleep, so I could sleep through the night. But you can't move your legs. Somebody has to help you move your legs out. You have no hip power. So to use the bathroom, you need help to get back, and you're peeing all day because I don't know why, but you are. And so it was a thing. It was a thing. You could, if in theory, start working out the next day, but you don't feel like it. You're destroyed. Took about 2 weeks to kind of get back to some.
That's pretty fast compared to other body parts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He told me knees take longer. So hips, because I did anterior in the front, posterior is the back. I did anterior hip surgeries, and yeah, I'm good, man.
You play basketball, everything.
I'm squatting.
So well worth the time.
I would have done it earlier, bro.
Yeah.
I would have done it earlier had I known this was it. But then again, I didn't know because I didn't have anybody to. I'm not blaming anyone, but I just didn't know to speak to about this. I just thought this is getting old. That's what I thought. I was like, I guess this is it. You know, like your shit wears out, and that's what it is. But so there was one point where I was walking this 5-story building we have in Massachusetts, an investment property, and I started tracking steps. Anytime I got near 5,000 steps of the day, I started limping. And then I was working out one time with my boy, and I was doing cleans, and catching the cleans started hurting. So I was like, all right, I got to check this out. Before it didn't bother because it didn't bother.
Whatever.
Right, but now it was like everyday shit. Like I started getting scared walking down the stairs. Like the pain of stepping on my leg and stuff. So I had, it made it. It's only when we're faced with some severe emergency that we react and we take definitive action, right? So those are a lot of little things talking to you now, which led me to that. I was like, yo, I gotta, this ain't it. This can't be it. Like, I can't live like this. It's not. I felt like I was becoming a prisoner in my body. I was like, yo, I can't even walk. Like I can't run.
So you got like a new lease on life.
Yeah.
When you got that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I got my new version, right? I got a next round. I feel younger now. My 43 to 48 probably felt really old because that was at the height of the pain. And I didn't realize where it was coming from. So I feel younger now. I move better now. Training, everything is easier now. Because before I'm training through pain as well as, forget being anabolic. Forget just, training for muscle soreness in pain. Like, I don't know if you ever had arthritis, like you're in pain. So like everything takes longer, everything hurts, and your body doesn't move certain ways. You have to find ways to adapt. And me talking to you about that now, it just reminds me of how much shit I went through. I was like, yo, I gotta figure this shit out. This is horrible. This is really bad. This is not good. And it's not something you kind of share with your wife or your friends because they can't relate. They don't
just deal.
Right. Yeah. It's like, damn. And then you start becoming irritable because everything hurts. You walk to get out of the bathroom toilet seat. I have to like do a tricep press. Yeah. So it was a lot, man. It was a lot. And
so imagine you never did it. Like, dude, where'd you be?
I don't know.
You'd be a wreck right now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd probably be sitting down somewhere, not moving much, probably heavier because after a while you can't move, right?
Yeah.
After a while you just.
Because there's a lot of people out there that are stubborn and they're like, I'm not getting surgery.
Fuck that, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck that. If I convince one more person to get their hip surgery, that's my job because it's definitely the best decision I made. On the way to the ER, not the ER, I'm sorry, the operating room, one guy I remember telling me, he's like, the one thing I'm gonna tell you is like, you're gonna be like, why didn't I do this before? Why didn't I do this sooner? And he was right. He was right. But of course, there was all that unknown, right? My wife was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew this wasn't it, bro. This is like I'm not comparing it to your situation with your addiction, but rather like there has to be a point where you're like, that's enough. Yeah. Right? This is it.
There has to be a better way. You know what I mean?
Correct. So I found my point. I took action and I made it happen, and I'm happy I did.
Yeah.
If this helps anybody to make a definitive decision towards it, do it, bro. Do it. Do it.
It's cool, man.
And with you, with people with addiction, do you feel like they feel a little alienated? Like maybe they're ashamed, they don't want to talk about it.
100%. Yeah.
So how do you
Like
get
if you-
people
if
to
you're-
feel?
like
How
if-
do you identify? Like, example, like a friend of yours. I mean, he might have an issue, or she might have an issue. How do you present that to them?
You can't really force anybody to do anything they don't want to do.
Oh, absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
Because think about yourself as a kid, right? If somebody tells you, hey, you should stop running 5 miles a day because when you're my age, your hips are going to be fucked up. You're not gonna listen. I'm not gonna listen.
Right.
Like, whatever. I'm different.
I'll see you later. Yeah.
Yeah, bye. Whatever. I'm still do whatever I want. So like, you can't force anybody to do anything they want to do. You offer advice, and if they choose to take it, they do. But you can't force them. So somebody explained it to me like being a lifeguard.
Okay.
Okay. So if somebody is drowning, right, you can throw them the lifesaver, right? But if they refuse to take it, you don't jump in the pool and save them because they will
drown
take
you.
you down.
They'll drown you,
right?
yeah.
So
So
you can offer.
so there's a
can't force.
process, right? There's a
Can't
process.
force. Most of the people I talk to, they're already at a drug or alcohol rehab facility, or they're in an AA meeting. So they've already made that first step of, I have a problem.
They've accepted
They're
those
already
issues.
looking for help.
Right.
This might not be the way they want to do it, but if anybody forced them there, they're out.
You know what, man? You touched on a real heavy memory right now. My stepbrother, who I don't talk to, he had addiction problems. He probably still does. I'm not shitting on him. But my step-pops, he would take him to daytop, take him here, take him there. He would escape.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough, man. Like
Dude, it's a sad thing. It's not the easiest thing to be. It can be done, but if you don't want to do it, it's not going
and
to
you
work.
not wanting to do it probably stems from the fact that you feel like you don't have a problem, right?
I think all these things all stem from like fear, right? So it's like, I can even like think about myself, right? Where like I'm going to rehab, right? And I'm panicking because I'm like, how am I going to get through a day without a drink?
Is this your first day?
Not even a drink, multiple drinks.
But this is your first day?
This is before even going.
Oh, just the anxiety, the
thinking
thought of it.
Yeah,
Right,
the anxiety.
right.
So I was at the point where like I would get physical symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't really know it was from alcohol because I didn't,
didn't put that
who
together.
teaches you this stuff?
Yeah.
So like, I'd be, doing my thing, and all of a sudden like I'd start getting like hot and then cold and like feel like I was getting a flu, and like I didn't know what was going on.
You know what was happening, right?
Yeah, it was a reaction to to not getting the alcohol my body was addicted to. So if I had a drink, it went away. And now you're in this really strange space because now if, let's say, you drink, every hour, right? You're not normal, but you kind of feel normal.
Right.
And if you don't, now you feel sick.
So you needed your substance to function. Whatever function that was, you don't know if that was really functioning. You just know that your body was fucked up.
You're at least if you have drinks in your system, you're better than without it.
Okay.
But you're destroying yourself. You're killing yourself. Everything is
Long term.
Eventually everything is going to shut down on the inside. Just a matter of time.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, look, they call functioning, like you use functioning addict, right? Is that what you use, or no? You said something else.
I don't use that word, but people say, "Oh, I'm a functioning alcoholic." Where I don't know if I really like that word, but like, I guess it means like, you're not that. So you're not that as bad off. Like you could still go to work, you could still be on time,
right?
You can still go to events.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of time where you go from that stage of alcoholism to full blown. It's
Yeah, I
a
think
ticking time bomb.
my father, who passed away when I was 18, was a functioning addict, and it wasn't alcohol; it was other stuff. But going back, having this conversation with you, going back to like those times, it's very different. Where he could send me a 10-year-old to the store to get beer and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like that, it was a very different time.
Yeah.
Like it was like, yo,
That was all good.
Go get me this.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
good.
And you would go, and you're like, okay, and
Yeah.
George, I need this, and you're like fucking 9. He's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's just it was a different world, right? And then so when I close my eyes, I think about him. I think about Colt 45 and Newports,
Yeah.
right? Because that was the thing back then. Well, he was a Vietnam vet. A lot of guys who came back from the war came back addicted.
Yeah.
To opioids and stuff like that. And
Well, they saw a lot of bad shit,
oh yeah,
and
they had to numb that pain,
and I don't.
and they had to do a lot of bad
So
shit.
nowadays there's PTSD. That shit did not
Exists back then. Yeah,
it did not exist. There
was
was
like,
there was no like, hey, let's take care of these vets.
No.
Like you were like,
no, and that's a really good point because there was a couple of times when I was young, he broke down. He told me about shit he had to do. And he was broken about it, right? He was broken. You got to clear the village. Anybody in the village had to get cleared. Little kid, big, it didn't matter. And he's a soldier, right?
that shit can haunt you.
Yeah.
And what do? You want to escape those thoughts.
Right.
Whatever way you want, whatever way you can.
And it wasn't that he was, laid out on the floor. He was functioning, whatever. That's why I said that, because I remember using that term at one point, where he was functioning, but he had to get high. Like it wasn't to like not out to watch the game. Like he had to have a beer and cigarette. Like it was like a mannerism, or rather, it was a dependency, right? Like he had
in his system.
Yeah, he had to have it to
Yeah.
function normally. And he was a mailman at the end. He was a mailman.
Yeah.
I had to pee for him. Shout out to USPS. But it's. I think there's so much more awareness to it now, right? And there's more resources, or rather, the resources aren't bastardized like they were back in the day. Oh, he went to rehab. Oh, he's a crackhead. Like there was a lot of
I'll
labeling.
tell you that. Like let's say if this was 20 years ago,
Yeah.
right? That society 20 years ago, I maybe not feel so comfortable coming on here telling you I'm alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now maybe nobody wants to do business with me.
There's a
I can't be
stigma.
Trusted. All that
Yeah.
stuff. Whereas nowadays people have a little more understanding of the disease, and it's easier to do that. So like shout outs to people like 20 years ago who were talking about this and being open, because
They opened the door.
really,
Yeah.
really different.
Yeah, because cause of course also people like my stepdad was ashamed, right? Like he was dealing with this shit.
Yeah. You don't want anybody to know.
I'm like, he's in college or he's away in school. I was like, he's in school? Like I was a kid, I was like 12. He's like, yeah, he's in school. Meanwhile, the guy's the most uneducated motherfucker I've ever met. He's like 4 years older than me. I'm like, this retard? I was like, nah, man. And then later on, as I got older, I understood the truth. And he was embarrassed and he didn't know what to do. He was he was a man's man. He was stoic, and it was rough for him, man, because you try to cope, you try to help, but if, like you said, if the person doesn't want it, he's burned like every relationship with every friend he's ever had because his son has burned it, like stolen broken into the car, like any story you want, stole from me.
Hard.
One time he came out, I'll give you a story. He comes out, I'm 26, 27. He got to be like 32, 33. He did a bid. He came to see me. I was doing well. Let's just say that. I was doing very well. I'm not going to say I was doing the best things in the world, but I was doing well. So I come out. He's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, what's up, man? How you doing? He's like, yo, can you help me? I was like, yo, bro, like, you get high. I cannot help you. I was like, no offense, but we not cool like that. If you're not trying, I'm not trying. We not trying. Right?
Set a boundary.
Yeah, I set up because before, I would drive him to Coney Island. Like he got locked up. He got into a relationship with the CO. The girls at
You
Coney.
hear this a lot.
Yeah,
You hear this shit a lot.
Like 24 years ago this happened. He got involved with the CO. She lives in Coney Island projects. He's living in the Bronx, or he's staying with her, and he would come to hang out with us. And I was like 20 something. So I would drive him from the Bronx to Coney Island, I was trying to help, but then he fell off again, and then he went back in. And then he came back out, and that's when we had the conversation. And then so he goes into the house, and he breaks into the house later that day, steals all my stuff. Nobody else's stuff in the house, my stuff. So that became like the line. And I was like, okay, I see where you're at. Am I sympathetic to it? yeah, but the same way, because this is bringing up another time. So he hits me up on Instagram a couple of years ago when his dad died, which is my stepfather, who I buried. Nobody, I buried him. He was, whatever. Yo, it looks like you're doing really well. I was like, yo, I never answered him. I said, the first thing out of your mouth should be like, yo, my bad about what happened 20 years ago. That's how you want to start a conversation? You want to have a relationship? Yo, man, I was fucked up. No, never. So I just never answered it. And that's kind of how I left it. And I know other people might be like, I was like, nah, because I kind of saw the boundaries of the relationship. I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I felt like that was never going to be a genuine relationship. It's always going to be, I need something. Never on some, I see you doing well. Once I heard that, I was like, it just brought back all those bad memories.
Those things happen to people even without like drugs or alcohol involved, right? All of a sudden somebody from, high school hits you up because, they saw you were doing well and now they want something. Same shit.
That happened yesterday.
Yeah.
That's like, yo, I saw this guy that can plug me. I was like, yo, what's up, man? It's been 30 years. How you been?
Yeah.
Like break the ice a little bit first.
Yeah, not, hey, hook me up.
Yeah. So, also you coming out the other side, right? Being where you are now, I'm sure you had friends that were on the other side of that, right? Do you have a lot of friends that are still on the other side that you have to kind of separate from?
Yeah, you got to keep you'd be supportive, but you're not doing what they're doing.
Not enabling.
Yeah.
Right.
And like,
that's it. Cause it gotta be a blurry line. It gotta be a tough line for you. Cause you're living your life and your truth. And you don't want to be an asshole because you know what it's like to be on that side of the wall, right? And you want to be helpful, but going back to your analogy or your metaphor of throwing the lifeline, if they don't want to take it, they're gonna drown you too. So how do you temper that? How do you say, hey,
I have a small circle. I have a small crew.
No, I understand that.
I only really like get involved with people who are either one, sober, or two, like don't abuse alcohol or drugs.
Okay.
Right. So like if you do drugs, like I really don't want nothing to do with you. Do your thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you can use alcohol and you can use it moderately, it's cool. I don't care.
Right.
But if you're getting blasted 3 times a week, like, we
don't have much in common, right? We have not. But my question is more, Jesse, like, if somebody reaches out to you for help, right? You have to have that like you said, that boundary of, I'll give you this amount of help, but don't step over because this is no, like you got to see like they're doing their part too, right? So how do you?
My help is usually like, hey, do you want to go to a meeting? Do you want to go to a meeting together? I'll drive you.
Okay.
I'll pick you up.
So you're being supportive.
Yeah.
Okay. Like they call that being a sponsor.
Well, a sponsor is different. A sponsor is your guide.
Okay.
So a sponsor will give you the ropes of kind of how AA is, and then once you get a sponsor, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go through the steps. So there's 12 steps.
Right.
So they take time. Okay. Everybody's time is different, but let's say roughly one a month, right?
Okay.
Give or take.
Okay.
So you do some studying with this guy. You have questions, he answers them. He's your tour guide, and he kind of helps guide you so you're not just on your own and just thrown in the mix of.
Did you have a good sponsor?
I had a great sponsor.
Okay.
Amazing. You always have a sponsor.
Right.
You always keep in contact with your sponsor because it's someone who has more experience than you.
And that's the person you call. You have an issue, right?
Yeah, and you lean on them with all types of stuff.
Okay.
We do networking. Different people speak at different places. There's all types of stuff that you need a sponsor, like you need a mentor, same thing.
Yeah, the sponsor to me sounds like almost like a surrogate family member, right? Somebody who's been through a rough patch and is trying to help you not make the same mistakes, right? And give you like almost like a coach, right? A wisdom that gets you there faster.
Yeah,
right.
They kind of guide you,
right?
And then their big thing is to really help you like work the steps with you and then learn this whole new way of life. And in those 12 steps, one of the biggest things is, and this takes time, but you start working on, and you start realizing, and then you start working on your defects of character.
Okay. Give me an example. It don't have to be personal, just an example. Yeah.
So, like, what's a defective character? A defective character could be
You're impulsive?
It could be jealousy.
Okay, jealousy. Okay.
So, like, you start to see, you start to be aware of when big one is resentment.
Okay.
Okay, so like you're supposed to clear these resentments up, and you start seeing you when you go into the program, you don't even realize you think you're perfect, right? Like
Right.
everybody, like,
I'm-
I don't have
I'm
any
fine.
flaws.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't have any flaws.
Right.
I don't do wrong to anybody. I'm good. And then you start to realize, oh,
Damage that you've done.
not everything that happened is somebody else's fault.
Oh, accountability.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of these things are
Your fault.
from how my part in it. What did I partake in this situation? And then you start to realize, and then you start holding yourself accountable. You start thinking about before you go to sleep. How was my performance as a human being for today?
That's big. That's
Where-
big, bro.
This is what I'm saying. Is anybody?
that's
This
big.
could help anybody.
Right.
Right. You don't.
Just makes you a better
Is
human.
just before you go to sleep. How was my performance as a human being? Like, where did I nail it? Right. Where did I
Where I hit it home.
Yeah. And where did I mess up?
Right.
And does that need to be addressed? Do I need to apologize to somebody? Do I not? And what can I do to improve that tomorrow so it doesn't happen? It's a great way to live.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
sound
awesome,
like
dude.
it doesn't sound like just an addiction thing. It sounds like a just making you a better human being thing.
So you end up going there because you have an alcohol problem, and then you realize it's these other things that are the cause of your alcohol problem. So you can't just stop drinking. You have to work on these defects of character.
Right. And triggers, right? Things like that
All
trigger
types
you.
of stuff,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Wu-Tang says it all the time. I'm a big rap guy.
Are you going to the concert?
No, but now that you told me, I'll look it up. But I forgot the lyric. It's heartaches and pain. I drink so I don't. I'm numb to the pain. I forgot.
Is that Cream?
Is it?
I feel like
probably,
it's Cream.
Well, the truth.
I feel like it's Ray. Shout out to Ray.
but the truth of the matter is that it's not just a lyric. It's true. Like a lot of people drink to escape. Right? They know the party's gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be tomorrow. You wake up tomorrow, it's gonna be there, but you just don't want to deal with it now. And it's almost like delaying, right? You're delaying. You're delaying. Yeah. So it's
That feeling of hopelessness is not fun.
Yeah. The feeling of hopelessness becomes, I think, real when you kind of subscribe to the thinking of I can't do anything. Right. Like going back to like what you said, being around certain people, that shit is fucking magnified.
Yeah.
You got to change your surroundings to kind of change your mindset, change your life. Right.
Like if you want to be sober, right? Like maybe it's not a great idea to hang out with people and all they do is drink and smoke weed.
Yeah.
Like there's a saying, like if you hang out in a barber shop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's a matter of time.
yeah.
It's just well, the hair does grow.
Because everybody thinks they're different, right? So everybody's like, oh, I can hang around that stuff and I'm not going to be tempted.
The issue becomes this. The issue is not really the issue. The funny part is this. If you're not about that, you wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm
Yeah.
I'm not about
Yeah.
this. So I'm out. No offense. I think I told the story to my last guest. I'll tell you the story. So when I started learning about my consciousness was in high school. And I was very lucky. I was very bright in school. I was very good at academics. I'm good at taking information, take tests. I'm really good at that. So I was always in like AB classes. And AB classes, I'm from 196 in Jerome, which is the hood. And AB classes were like the immigrant kids, the Indian kids, the Asian kids, and me. I was there. I don't know how I was there, but I was there. And then my friends from the school, from the building, the block, they were all in DEF classes, right? So when we're outside in the yard, we're playing. I'm playing with my boys, but then time to line up to go up to class, and I would go to my class, and I see you at the house. I see you at the building, right? Then as I grew up, still same story. I'm in the AE. I'm in college prep. I'm in this, and I met a lot of good people. I don't want to say I'm friends with anybody right now. I'm in high school. I have very few friends, but my friends that, from the street, we're still on the street. So then you don't know good from bad yet. So you're just kind of like figuring it out. So I remember hanging out on the weekends and we're on Castle Hill and, they're buying 40s and smoking. And I was never a smoker guy because of my father. I would see what happened and I was like, nah, I'm not going that way. But I'd hang out. And then eventually one day I'm like, fuck am I doing here, bro? I was like, I'm watching these niggas. At that point I had a car. So I'm driving them to spots and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even smoke.
You don't even
I
participate.
was like, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I had a moment. It was like, you know who Jim Rohn is?
Yeah.
The magic and the mystery. I had my magic moment. I was like, fuck is this? Like, what am I doing? I'm driving
That
these guys.
quick.
Like, I'm in Uber and I could get arrested and I'm hanging out in a schoolyard. They're smoking. I'm not, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah.
And that was it. I turned, I left. That was it. I was gone. I said, I love you guys. I fully committed and subscribed to the world of college. I went to NYU. I fully immersed myself in that, and I was determined to learn what else there was. Cause I was like, this ain't it for me. I'm like, this cannot be life. This is horrible. Like, and I'm living it. I'm like, this is pointless. Fuck we doing? Like,
Yeah.
Everybody here's broke. Everybody's here scrambling, putting $5 together. I'm like, what? I had a job. Like, I was one of the guys who had a job. Like, I was like, what is it? So I had to face that. I had to see it. I had to be this close to it to understand this ain't it. This ain't it for me. Like, I don't know what is for me, but this is not it for me. And I just went the other way.
Some people are happy with that life. Some people are content.
A lot of guys I grew up with.
Dude, because they're still doing that shit.
Yeah, I grew
right?
up with that, yeah.
And they're good. Like, this is life.
Crazy part about that is that I turned my back on that. My cousin from my father's side ended up doing 15 years in jail for selling drugs. And like, everybody's life went that way. I went the other way. And after my pops had passed at 18, like, I wasn't really connected to that side of the family, so I just let it go. But it was really like a tale of two cities, right? Like, my mother was like, she was an immigrant, not English, but she was like, go to school, be educated. She'd go to work at 5 a.m, come back. Like, she was diligent soldier. And that's where I got my work ethic from. And then I had my father's side, and he was more educated. He spoke English better, good dude. He was actually a professor in college, but he's an addict. And then, his sister was an addict. She passed. His brother was an addict. Like, that whole side of the tree was problems. And I was his son, so he had a right to see me. And I had a very close perspective on that lifestyle. And it wasn't so much that she was telling me it's a bad, all right, so I'm sleeping in my mom's house. My sheets are clean, everything's cool. I go to my pop's house, everything smells like cigarettes.
Yeah,
shit is dirty. I'm like, nah. He's like, you want to stay with me? I was like, no offense.
Yeah, but it's pretty easy as a kid to even say, if you do A, you end up like this. If you do B, you end up like this. Yeah, and maybe, what I want to do.
Maybe maybe going back to what you said, maybe somebody telling me that is not it. I had to get my nose pushed into it.
You gotta see it.
Yeah, experience it.
You gotta make your own mistakes. Mm-hmm. You just have to, because
or even just see them in a close proximity, close enough that you could be like, if I make a left, I could end up in this cycle, and I'm not trying to do that, right? So talking to you has opened up that part of my memory box and why I kind of went this way, and it wasn't like, like he was, the funny thing about addiction is like, he'll be shoplifting, right? We'll be in Fordham, at the Fordham Plaza. I don't know if you remember the Alexander's on Fordham.
Yeah.
So he'll, G.I. Joe's. You remember G.I. Joe's?
Yeah.
So he's at ripping the things, putting in his pocket. Don't ever shoplift. And he shot like I'm looking. I'm like,
that's the way it is. Listen, no matter no matter what like state you're in, like it's a natural instinct. You always want your kids
do better,
do better, and not participate in the bullshit you're doing.
Yeah,
even you're doing it right in front of them.
Yeah. He'd be like, yo, I'm going way back now. 116th Street. I'll go visit him, and he'd be like, yo, go with this kid. I don't know who the fuck the kid was. I was like 9, 10. Go to the park. Me and my man, because they all had the army jackets, right? The vets, they all had the army jackets. Yeah. They're walking around with their 45s and canes and shit. And he's like, I'm gonna go with my man Pedro. We're gonna go around the block. So we can get high, right? But I'm here on 116th Street in the hood, some kid I never met before. And I was like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't until like once or twice my mom pulled up with the cops because he would pick me up unauthorized that I understood. I was like, all right, Dad might got a problem. He might have a problem. I don't know what's going on, but this shit, you know, right?
Yeah.
The cops are like, come on, Kevin, like, who is it? And my mom was like, I don't know why he, like, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. This is weird.
wrong.
So it's funny to have that conversation with you just unlocked all that stuff part of my life that I was like, I went through, and I was kind of like exploring it on my own, and I was like, this don't make sense to me. I'm like 10 years old. I'm like, why are the cops here?
Something's going on.
Yeah.
Yo, can I ask you about the sneaks?
Which ones? These?
No, your whole collection. How many you got?
Right now I probably got about like 40 pairs.
Oh shit.
I just built a sneaker closet in my house. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I got like 45 pairs. I started collecting 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
You're a Nike guy, or are you
No, I'm a sneaker guy.
all over?
I'm a sneaker guy. I like Nikes a lot. I'm trying to think. I know this is totally off topic. Like Lululemon, the athletic brand.
I've seen their
The
sneakers.
shoes are good.
I never tried them on, but
I
I've
love
seen
them.
them. Yeah,
They're
they look
Trey,
cool.
You remember Trey Twins? The tennis
Yeah,
shoes?
yeah, very similar.
Very similar
Yeah.
and very comfortable. I like those for like
Those are your jam?
casual work
Yeah.
stuff. I wear a lot of Jimmy Choo ones. They're not that comfortable. Versace's I wore the other day. They're okay. They've run small, so I had to buy size 14 or size 13.
But like is your go-to Nike?
Yeah, I think MJ's the guy. MJ's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wear LeBrons to play basketball. I don't wear the older sneakers. I feel like new technology is better for your feet because your feet get beaten.
Yeah.
But yeah, AJ2s are my first pair that I ever got as a kid at 12 years old. My step pop sent me next door to his boy's sneaker store. He goes, yo, I got a pair of sneakers for you. And I was broke as, like, we were poor. So I got the Air Jordan 5. I remember opening it. And I'm like, wow, this is a $100 pair of sneakers back then in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. So they've always left an impression on me. So I have like every colorway and every.
So I remember my brother, I don't know what number, maybe the third, but it was this huge ordeal because a piece of it was iguana skin.
Twos. These are twos right here.
Yeah.
These are twos. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
really
The second
big
ones
deal.
he dropped, iguana skin. They were designed by an Italian designer. I got these red, black, yellow, green, black, and off-white. Like those are the first pair I got, so they're like a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
So I bought those first. Like those were the first pair when I said, you know what, I'm gonna start buying sneakers. Who was I talking to? Because for a minute, I was wearing a lot of shoes. I guess I was going through that phase where I was still kind of like an employee, trying to figure myself out. So I was wearing shoes a lot and stuff like that. And eventually I was just like, I'm the CEO.
Yeah.
I can wear what I want to wear. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. And I think as the years passed by, it got a little looser with the dress code.
Definitely.
Back in the
When was
90s.
the last time you met with somebody who had a tie on?
Wow. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think in the 90s,
That was the norm.
everybody had to wear a suit and tie, right?
Yeah.
Right. I remember going to meet clients or prospective clients, and they're like, you know, if I said to myself, if you were not wearing a shirt and tie or a polo shirt, I was not doing business with you.
Exactly.
That was the old school mentality. And I was like, well, I have the polo shirt on. She's like, you're good. Now it's not so much. Not so much.
You wear whatever you want.
I do. Like, I met with this older couple 2 weeks ago here. So I wore like a mock neck. Because I just felt like they needed to see that. You know, like they can't see like a t-shirt. They're like, yo, this is too loose. So I play it per audience, right? Like, I want it to be no friction. So if you need to see me a certain way, I'll be a certain way. Like, you know, because they're like 80 years old. They expect a banker to be wearing certain things. So I'm like, I got you. And they're like, oh, great. Like, they felt more at ease. Meanwhile, if I would have came with like a t-shirt with a gold chain on, they were like,
Who is this guy?
who's this guy? Right, exactly. They don't care if I own the building. They don't care about it. It's just conceptions, right? People have these conceptions. And if you're a good sales marketer or salesman or whatever you want to call it, or business person, you know to know your audience, right? You have to know your audience, and you want it to be comfortable, because the more comfortable it is, going back, just even going to social media, right? Social media is a creation of comfort and a certain amount of familiarity with you and any prospect. I've had business done through DMs, right? Like, so it works. I know that. But people need to know a little bit about you, and they
100%.
and they just feel like, yeah, fuck with that guy. I want to do business with that guy. That's
So like what I like I'm not as good at it as you, but like you have to just go on there and like be genuinely interested in people, not just in selling them a service or a product.
Well, the last conversation I had
Yeah.
to build on it, in order to receive, you have to give. And you have to
100%.
give, and there is no limit, and there is no time, and there is no exact metric. You just have to give. So you give value, and you will receive value. Whatever that means. It might not be the value you think you're getting. It might be some other value.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get value. I believe in that, right? So I give value. I try to educate. I really share real stories without giving away, like confidential information. I'd share real transactions so that if they find themselves in a position like that, they know that other people have done it, or there's a way around it, or
Yeah.
there's a way through it. And I think that's really paid dividends on a B2B level. Other business guys, they're like, oh, what would you do in this situation? I'm like, oh, I'd go to this bank, or I would do it this way. Or realtors, hey, my deal is stuck. Well, what's the deal? And I'd understand it, be like, well, I think it won't work that way. I think you should do it this way. Or I'll look at a contract and be like, well, you put that in the addendum that killed the deal because you said that they're going to stay there and they're not supposed to be there. Like,
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you think, because like this, what you're talking about goes on all the time,
Okay.
and I think it's awesome.
Okay.
But do you think, like, let's say 20 years ago, like people were less helpful to like other business people? Because I do.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Like this is my guy. I'm not sharing him with you. You got a problem. Figure it out yourself. Not so
It was
helpful.
a scarcity mindset. It was a scarcity
Yeah.
mindset. People could be, everybody's scrapping. Everybody
Yeah.
before didn't have a lot, right? So
Yeah.
they didn't want to give up. They felt like if they give up some of theirs, it was less for
But
them.
even just advice, like I feel like
Listen, man, I opened my liquor store in 99, right? 2 Jewish guys I spoke to prior to opening. That's a horrible business. They had liquor stores. Why? Because they didn't want competition. I
Yeah.
was on 159
Yeah.
3rd in the South Bronx. They were in like Brooklyn. It don't matter, but it was just the way they did it. They
Yeah.
like, if he's not Jewish or he's not one of our guys, we don't want him there. We don't want him there. Yeah, so that's exactly how it was. So what I've learned is, and what I want to preach here, is that the guys that are really doing it, like 7 figures or more, they're all working together. Because I know for a fact I can't be everywhere. If there's a deal in, I'll use Massachusetts because I have buildings in Massachusetts. If there's a deal in Massachusetts and I can't really give it the attention, I'll give it to a guy in Massachusetts that I know.
yeah.
Yo, because he could pull up, do what he has to do, like make it really solid. There was a deal in Florida I couldn't do because the appraiser was messing up my deal. I said, look, deal with this guy in Florida because he got like the connections to make it happen. They closed. The guy was like, I feel guilty about closing this other guy. I was like, yo, bro, the ultimate win is you closing. It's all good, man. Somehow it'll come back. Think of me for the next one. It's all good. It's all good. I mean, is that always happening? No. But I'm an outlier. I understand that about myself. And this is the way I'm walking my path. So I believe in giving, right? So it's gonna come back. How? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
And it's all good because I'll keep giving. I'm better off. I'd rather leave a relationship with anybody, man, woman, whatever, like gave more. I took an L. I like that. I'll take the L. You can never say anything bad about me. I'll take the L. I'll be good because I know this is not the only thing for me. I can keep creating. And, if people thought like that, then everybody would be just throwing favors at each other all day instead of what we see now, And in your business, do you see that also?
I'm in a couple different networks, and most of the people in there really hook each other up, like go above and beyond.
Okay.
Where it's like, this is my guy to use.
Yeah, so you got the camaraderie.
Or like advice, or, people just donating their time. Like, it's like.
And that's a big thing too.
It's I don't know if I'm lucky and I'm like, I got around the
No,
right
you
group
cracked
of
it
people,
because that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You're trying to do that. How do I be of service? You'll be around people of service, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Right? And how did you get here? Where it was like, I think we liked similar posts. We kind of knew each other, started hitting each other. Then we met each other at an event, and boom, and here we are, right? It's just kind of how it works, right?
And it wasn't even like, hey, are you going to this event? Like,
Right, we just happened to be there.
Dude, I was there, you were there, we sat right next to each other. That was the only seat left.
There you go, and that's
These
the way it
things
works.
just line up like that.
That's the way it works.
It's cool. It's cool to just be on the journey.
Yeah.
And like not even try to force shit, because if you try to force shit,
it won't happen.
it doesn't happen.
Well, if it does happen, it doesn't happen with the right effect, right?
Like if I try to move this, right, and this is 4,000 pounds, like,
not gonna move.
it's not gonna.
not gonna
What are you doing? You're wasting your time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, I believe in that. I believe in the journey. I believe in helping and being of service. But more than believing it, I practice it. I practice it like that. Like, yo, you want me on the show? Let's do it. Let's, like boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. No, I want it. I want it to happen. Can you give me a shirt so I can shout out the shirt? Absolutely. So let's do that. If I can get you one more sale, I won. I won, and that's how I feel. You obviously have a very interesting story, so I wanted you on the show, and then also you're also starting your journey with podcasting, right? So anything you can see here or learn here, you can apply for your own self. I love it. Yeah. He's gonna do some stuff on bus stops and trains, which can be wild, but I can't wait to see it. You let me know. I'll pull up to a train station. All right?
Yeah, bro.
All right.
And dude, you're in the sober club, so you can be on it.
I'm sober. Yep, yeah, absolutely.
So that's the deal.
If people want to reach you, Jesse, look at the camera and tell them where to reach you.
You can reach me Instagram, Malocchio Lifestyle. You can reach me on YouTube, New Lease on Life, Mr. Jesse M.
Mr. Jesse M.
Got the website, malocchiolifestyle.com.
Are you on LinkedIn? Get on LinkedIn. You're a business guy.
I'm on it, buddy.
You're a business guy. Come on, man.
I can only be on so much bullshit. It's like, how many things are going to post on?
Absolutely. All right.
Dude, who goes on LinkedIn unless you need a job? Go to hang out, look at nerds. Get out of here.
All right, so no LinkedIn for him. Ask Louis Omar on every platform. You know where to get me. You know where to see me. You know where to talk to me. Reach out to me if you need me. DM me, and we're out.